Over the past 5 seasons, you've seen the results. Hunters across the country have harvested some of the largest bucks of their lives. Numerous 200-inch bucks and countless Boone and Crockett whitetails have fallen as the result of one common system. Wouldn't you love to be sitting behind the buck of your dreams this season? Then you need to experience the Extinguisher Deer Calling System by Illusion. Instantly adjust from fawn to doe to buck with the speed and accuracy you need.
It took me about 4 years to design and perfect the Extinguisher Deer Calling System. And once I got it where I wanted it, I handed it out to professionals across the industry, across the country, and the results were amazing. In the last 5 years straight, we've harvested deer over 200 inches, and in many cases, multiple deer over 200 inches every single season. Not to mention the thousands of inches of record book bucks that have been taken with this system. Then I sent it out, hundreds of them, to independent field tests to average hunters through the North American Hunting Club. And we received a 99.6% approval rating, which I believe is the highest rating that has ever been reached by a calling system. And you know, the Extinguisher, it just plain works. Over the past few years, the Extinguisher has been getting quite a bit of exposure on television through commercials. And that's raised some great challenges for us here at Illusion. The challenge being that the demand is so great that we're selling out every single year. And the demand keeps getting greater every single year. Less than 0.5% of deer hunters are going to have the opportunity to take the Extinguisher Deer Calling System in the woods with them this year. We sell out every single season. So I highly recommend that you get this system and you get it now. Practice with it. Learn what's on the DVD. So when you're up in that stand this fall and that critical moment happens, and it's that moment of truth, you're going to experience what the Extinguisher is all about. Andy Orr of Advanced Whitetail Systems specializes in building habitat for trophy bucks. Andy's already harvested one of the largest bucks on record. So let's go take a look and see how Andy uses the Extinguisher Deer Calling System to communicate with and manipulate another trophy.
The reason I choose the Extinguisher, plain and simple, is the Monoslide. The Monoslide gives you infinite versatility in which deer you want to sound like so that you can communicate with a buck and bring him closer. And you can do that by switching the Monoslide immediately from immature buck up to a doe to mature buck. There's no other call on the market that can do that with that speed and accuracy. Some of the giant wild whitetails that have been killed in the last few years using the Illusion Deer Calling System are just, they blow my mind. My 227, Colton's 228, Kevin's 15-pointer, Rod's 21-pointer. These are unbelievable old, ancient, 7, 8, 9-year-old wild whitetails that do not fall for any tricks whatsoever. And you can call those kind of deer in with the Illusion Deer Calling System. It's amazing. I know for a fact Illusion sells out of these calls every year. Get your Extinguisher now, get your hands on it, get practicing, get comfortable with it, so that when you have your moment of truth this fall, you can call and finish him and put him right in your lap and kill him. Well, one of the major times that we love to try and harvest deer in October is what we call an October kill window. These bucks, when a big storm front's coming, they get put at a wind disadvantage, the wind switches around, and all of a sudden they're laying on a ridge and they cannot smell what's behind them. So they'll get on their feet, they're looking to move to another position, and it's a great time to harvest a buck. And that's what happened with this deer. He was 50 or 60 yards down the hill, grabbed the Extinguisher, tried to lay out a scenario with a doe bleat and then an immature buck grunt that there's a little bit of action going on up this hill that he might want to come and investigate. And he heard it, reacted a little bit to it and started to sneak around a little bit to our right, maybe to try and get the wind on us a little bit, but he was headed our way. So he had come up the hillside to about 40 yards or so and hung up, and I realized, he's stuck. I've got to do something to break him out of this trance that he's in. Hit him again with the same call to make him believe there's something going on up the hill. You need to come up, and you could see him just right now. He believes that scenario is going on and he has to come and check that out. And he drifted, came right up the hill perfectly into a shooting lane for me. Right. Well, that buck came in and finished at 25 yards, and that was absolutely due to the Extinguisher making him believe in his mind that there was something going on up the hill that he needed to come and investigate. And that's why it's so absolutely critical that you have the extinguisher with you, because you can manipulate deer and move them into range so that you can harvest them. I mean, it's an unbelievable tool. You can take deer 150 yards away and put them absolutely within range. I will not go in the woods without my extinguisher deer call.
Jeff Miller manages thousands of acres of prime whitetail land. Jeff also films for Above the Game TV show, and Jeff knows the importance of having the right product in your hands at that critical moment.
As they come out on the field, we knew we had to kind of make this quick because we were just running out of time. So we hit the horns, fairly aggressively, and the heads all come up and they looked and we got their attention. And as we were working the call, working the horns, to my left, footsteps in the timber, just steady footsteps. And I told my cameraman then that there was a buck coming to the fence. And as I got ready to, put my bow on and thought he was going to come out across the pasture, he just turned and he went straight east. And why or for what reason, I have no idea, but he started down the fence and I started to panic then. But I had my extinguisher game call right there in my hand. I hit the call, he turned, he looked back, he looked as if he was gonna jump the fence again, and I thought, okay, here we go. And again, he turns and he starts down the fence. And as he went on down again, I hit that call again, that extinguisher game call again. And he turned 90 degrees, jumped the fence. He couldn't take it anymore. He knew there was a buck there. He was convinced there was a buck there. Whether he couldn't see it, but he knew in his mind there had to be a buck there. That call sounds so real, so clear that he could not. He had to jump the fence and come check it out. And that was the end of the story with him.
I thought it was over. And I hit that illusion game call, the extinguisher, a couple times. But he couldn't take it any longer. He had to jump and come across.
Thank God for illusion grunt call tonight. I believe in this product so much. I want everybody to know about it and everybody to try it. It's a great product. I'll never use anything else.
Coming up next, Colton Hall reveals the tactics he used to harvest a 228-inch giant.
Are you kidding me?
Hunters all across the country are experiencing deer hunting like they never thought possible. The buck of your dreams could be right around the corner, and you need to be prepared when that critical moment presents itself. Tens of thousands of hunters carry the extinguisher deer call in their pack for a reason. This system just plain works. Do yourself a favor this season and experience the extinguisher deer calling system for yourself. The extinguisher deer call reproduces the full range of deer vocalizations, adjust from fawn to doe to buck with unmatched speed and accuracy. The extinguisher comes complete with Illusion's Don't Just Call, Communicate DVD, which will teach you when to call and how to communicate with deer of all gender and ages. World-renowned deer calling expert and Olympic gold medal archer Rod White shares the knowledge he has gained from over 20 years of successfully harvesting world-class bucks. This knowledge is truly invaluable, and it will be yours to keep when you order the extinguisher deer calling system by Illusion. Most calls must be taken apart to change sounds, but the extinguisher allows you to make quick adjustments in the heat of the moment when you don't have time to waste. Has your deer call ever locked up during that crucial moment from ice or excess moisture? Not anymore. The extinguisher's patented Monoslide feature allows you to free that stuck reed in a flash. Order this proven deer calling system today while supplies last and receive the extinguisher deer call and a free lanyard for only $29.99 plus shipping and processing. Get unparalleled performance at just a fraction of the cost. When you order your extinguisher, you'll also receive Illusion's Don't Just Call, Communicate DVD instructional featuring Olympic gold medal archer Rod White. In this instructional, Rod demonstrates the vocalizations you can replicate with your extinguisher deer calling system. But wait, if you order online or by the end of this TV program, we'll include a free Working Class Whitetails DVD. This action-packed DVD features 20 whitetail kills and 6 Boone and Crockett class bucks. This TV package is not available anywhere else. But hold on, we're not done yet. While supplies last, we'll include a free, unscented wind checker. Now you can play the wind and know exactly where your scent is traveling at all times when communicating with that mature buck. This $100 valued extinguisher TV package can be yours today for just $29.99 plus shipping and processing. The extinguisher makes the perfect gift for friends and family. Wouldn't it feel good knowing you helped that special someone harvest a trophy of a lifetime? Illusion is projected to sell out of extinguishers again this season, and less than 1% of deer hunters will have the opportunity to purchase this calling system. Don't wait. Order yours now.
Tim Roller is the owner of Bugwater Media, and Tim's producing television shows year after year. So we put the extinguisher deer calling system in the hands of him and his team members. Let's go take a look.
A number of sounds and communications that you can throw at a buck is virtually limitless. If you hit a nerve with him and it might be a different tone, you're going to get a response from him. I'm able to do that with the extinguisher. We've had situations where we're sitting over standing corn, hit the extinguisher, and the corn erupts. We've called bucks off of does. We've been calling at one buck and had multiple other bucks respond from different directions, all from simply giving a few calls from the extinguisher. One of the simplest, lowest cost items you're going to take into the woods is this extinguisher, and it's going to pay for itself 10 times over the first time you use it. If you have an inferior call and you've got a big buck that you're watching and you're not able to get him in, you'd pay thousands of dollars for an extinguisher at that moment. That's why we carry them right there. This tool is going to allow you to use the rest of your equipment. As a production, we have to put deer on the ground, and to do that, we have to get deer close. We rely on the extinguisher to make that happen for us. An hour and a half almost into the morning, we had yet to see a deer. And I knew we had to be in a good spot here. And I specifically turned around, looked at my cameraman and said, you know, I'm gonna make sure that a buck didn't come in on us and we don't know that he's close. I'm gonna hit the extinguisher a couple times. I hit the extinguisher about 5 or 6 times, rotated around and made sure that call got out in every direction. I no longer put it in my pocket. It wasn't 30 seconds and I heard footsteps in the creek. I turned and here's this beautiful, big, mature, heavy-bodied buck crossing the creek and coming right into the call.
Tell me when you're good. Matt. That's a slob. That's a pig. I pulled out my extinguisher, grunted about 5-6 times, and it wasn't 30 seconds, and I heard a deer walking across the creek right here.
He is by far the biggest bodied whitetail I've ever had, over 300 pounds 28 hours later when we put him on a scale. An absolutely huge monarch of a whitetail. The extinguisher grunt call allows me to have my best chance no matter where I am when I'm chasing big bucks. You need to carry the extinguisher.
Colton Hall of Advanced Whitetail Systems set out on an incredible 4-year journey to harvest a buck of his lifetime. Let's see what tactics he used in that critical moment to finally close the deal.
The story begins in August of 2008. I got my first trail cam photo of him, and from August of 2008 until October of 2012, I hunted this buck solely. I reached down into my coat, I pulled out my extinguisher, I hit him with 2 long, deep grunts, just to kind of let him know I was down there. And it was only just a matter of seconds and I could hear that buck starting to walk in my direction. Shortly thereafter, he walked into a window and I was able to tell that it was Mr. Maybe, and I was finally gonna have an opportunity to take him. 4 years I've been waiting to put my hands on this rack. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? After 4 years of hunting for this buck, it all came down to that one critical moment when I had to communicate with him in order to finish him the last 100 yards. And luckily I had my extinguisher with me. I was able to bring the buck all the way into 22 yards. He was fully convinced there was another mature buck in there intruding on his area. He read the script and came right in, and I was able to harvest him. If you've ever dreamed of taking that buck of a lifetime, the extinguisher deer call can help. and I'm living proof because my deer of a lifetime is sitting right behind me.
When it comes to using the extinguisher deer call in high pressured areas, I think of Jake Bennett. Jake has consistently harvested trophy bucks on public high pressured land on the East Coast year after year. Let's go take a look to see what Jake's got to say about this system.
I got to know Mike Ducart, and we talked about game calls as far as communicating with deer with rattling horns and grunt tubes. And I first tried out the extinguisher grunt tube thing in 2009, and I actually shot my biggest buck ever that year, 160-inch typical 11-pointer. When I call a deer, I try to make it seem as though it's a scene of what I have seen in the woods in the past, whether it be doe bleeding and a buck grunting chasing her, or just a buck grunting and chasing her at the same time. And you can hit every range of call you would need in the wild with the extinguisher call. So the variety of calls you can make is my favorite feature on the extinguisher grunt tube. I've been hunting and filming with Shared Obsession TV now for going on about 7 years, and we hunt, I'd say 90% public ground. And the private ground we have has access to other hunters. We don't hunt any specific property where we can put food plots in. Here in the East Coast, it's pretty hard knocks. You have a lot of competition for your property, and it's hard to find bucks that reach that prime maturity rate that we like to shoot. Without the help of the extinguisher grunt tube, I would not have killed the Invincible buck, which was featured in the Northeast Big Buck Club magazine. It's hands down the greatest grunt tube I've ever used. When hunting these suburban Northeast big bucks, the extinguisher game call is the only grunt tube I trust to have in my backpack.
Coming up next, watch real-time footage as Rod White communicates with and calls in another Boone and Crockett buck. You won't want to miss this. The extinguisher deer call reproduces the full range of deer vocalizations. Adjust from fawn to doe to buck with unmatched speed and accuracy. Why risk spooking deer with a locked-up reed or unnatural notes produced by other calls? The extinguisher's precision modest slide assures you of a perfect note every time without any guesswork. And the extinguisher's flexible throat tube will produce incredibly natural sounds that even the most intelligent bucks cannot resist. Bleats, balls, grunts, groans, roars, and more. Sound like one specific deer or an entire herd of deer with the flick of a finger. Hundreds of independent field testers from the North American Hunting Club gave the extinguisher deer calling system an unprecedented 99.6% approval rating. Today, this stands as one of the highest ratings ever for a deer calling system. You could expect to pay well over $100 for all the calls you would need to produce the vocalizations packed into the extinguisher. Why spend all that money only to fumble with multiple calls when the extinguisher does it all? This $100 valued extinguisher TV package can be yours today for just $29.99 plus shipping and processing. The extinguisher makes the perfect gift for friends and family. Wouldn't it feel good knowing you helped that special someone harvest a trophy of a lifetime? Illusion is projected to sell out of extinguishers again this season, and less than 1% of deer hunters will have the opportunity to purchase this calling system. Don't wait. Order yours now.
Here's a great example of how manipulating a deer through communication can work so effective for you. Olympic gold medalist Rod White manipulates this 170 class trophy whitetail right underneath his stand using the extinguisher deer calling system.
So this is one of those situations where most bow hunters would tell you is an impossible task to pull off. But because of the setting we were in and because of the realistic sounds and features that we were able to use with the call, we were able to literally pull this mature buck off a live doe. When deer are in an environment like this with a heavy undergrowth cover, they can't see very far in front of them. And that's why we chose this spot during this phase of the rut. And once I got this deer's attention with a couple grunts, we watched his ears swivel towards the tree, and I knew that he at least acknowledged our presence. In this scenario, I did something right after those contact grunts I don't normally do, and it's extremely risky, but we set the mood and we set the table with a snort wheeze. Because this deer is a mature buck, he's felt extremely challenged now because of that snort wheeze. And this deer clearly, as he was walking away and he heard that last contact grunt that I gave him with the extinguisher, you could see his hair bristle up on his back, and probably one of the most important things for me to see was the action of him starting to lick his nose frantically. Licking their nose is a sign that they are trying to identify or smell the intruder that's in the area. Each time that deer begins to lose interest, that's when you want to hit him again with another grunt, or you want to hit him again with a snort wheeze. Because if he begins to lose attention, you'll lose him completely. So now we've got an angry, upset, mature buck who's been following a doe. He knows there's an intruder in the area. What he gets really confused on now is whenever I give a long breeding grunt. This is only done when bucks are closely trailing does. That's about the only time you'll ever hear it in the timber. As you watch that thrashing, that kicking of the leaves all around, this is just pure aggression. There's no scrape there whatsoever. One of the most important features of the extinguisher is being able to use the modest slide. And in this scenario right here, this is really, I would say, is the defining moment when I knew that this deer was not going to get away from us. I hit him with a long breeding grunt and then quickly slid into 2 doe bleeds. Once you make that change from not only being an intruder or representing an intruder in his area to an intruder that has another one of his does, that changed the whole program fundamentally and is what sealed the deal really on this deer. The next few grunts that I give this deer as he's thrashing about are deeper and more aggressive, and I'm doing this by sliding the modest slide all the way up into the deepest setting that the extinguisher has. And I'm also blowing harder at the end of the call. Again, this is to get more aggressive with this deer because we've got him on a hook and line right now and we're just reeling him in. During almost an entire approach, you'll watch him again just constantly licking his nose, again adding moisture to his nose just like a bird dog so that he can pick up more scent and try to identify me as he's coming in. But he is totally committed and he's marching right into bow range. There is no other call that I could use or I could even point to that would ever be able to replicate those exact sounds I need to as quickly and as accurately as the extinguisher can.
When it comes to using the extinguisher deer call, anything can happen, and this is a great example of it. TV producer JJ Dukart is filming his friend who just took a deer. He's doing cutaways with the extinguisher. You're just not going to believe what happens.
I've been using the extinguisher deer call since it first came out. Been behind the camera for most of the hunts and filmed a lot of great bucks hit the ground using this calling system, but I never thought I'd experience anything like we did last year. So I'm filming with my good buddy Alec. He just shot a great buck using the black rack system and the extinguisher, called it right into the base of the tree, shot it, got it all on film. But now, as a producer, I'm looking to grab some cutaway shots so we can make the full segment when we go to editing. And as I'm filming, Alec's doing some cutaways with the extinguisher. He's doing some bleats, doing some grunts just as he had a few minutes before. And I look in my viewfinder and I see movement. There's another buck walking right to the base of the tree. My first instinct is, hey, I have another tag in my pocket. Alec's handing me his bow. I'm sliding him the camera gear. I'm putting the release on, and just as I get pulled back, Alec gets on this buck, and I just smoked him. Talk about an adrenaline rush. I've never been more excited shooting a buck.
Double, 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 double. And I was doing calling cutaways with the extinguisher, and the second buck came right to the tree.
I don't need to prove to anyone that the extinguisher deer calling system actually works. The video speaks for itself.
Brant Fox manages a very large group of working class whitetail hunters. They create a DVD series called Working Class Whitetails. These guys are everyday hunters just like you and I, and they get out there when they can. So we put the extinguisher deer calling system in the hands of Brant and his team. Let's go see what kind of experience they had.
Just over the hill there, I killed one of my best bucks ever. Scored somewhere in the mid 180s with my bow a few years ago. Coincidentally, that was the first year that I'd taken the extinguisher call out and took it for a test ride. I let out 3 really short buck grunts just to try and pique the deer's interest. Before I could even stand up, the cameraman's tapping me on the back of the head and he's saying, shooter, shooter coming in. And the rest is history. I was actually sold on the extinguisher before that, but now it is that call that I will turn around in my truck to go back and get. In fact, I usually carry 2 of them, one in my truck in case I do forget. Working Class Whitetails is the name of our company. Our guys actually work. We have full-time jobs. Chasing giant whitetails is just our passion, and this is what we do with our precious time away from work. We're not the guy that's going to just plop a tree stand out in the middle of the woods and sit there and patiently wait for that magical moment to happen. Know when it's time to make those certain deer calls and use the extinguisher. Don't wait, folks. They're going to run out. I mean, this is the hottest call on the market, and this is the hottest system. Get online and order today.
Hunters all across the country are experiencing deer hunting like they never thought possible. The buck of your dreams could be right around the corner, and you need to be prepared when that critical moment presents itself. Tens of thousands of hunters carry the extinguisher deer call in their pack for a reason. This system just plain works. Do yourself a favor this season and experience the extinguisher deer calling system for yourself. The extinguisher deer call reproduces the full range of deer vocalizations, adjust from fawn to doe to buck with unmatched speed and accuracy. Has your deer call ever locked up during that crucial moment from ice or excess moisture? Not anymore. The extinguisher's patented Monoslide feature allows you to free that stuck reed in a flash. If you've made unexpected sounds that have spooked deer in the past, don't let that happen again. The extinguisher only works when you want it to work. Hundreds of independent field testers from the North American Hunting Club gave the extinguisher deer calling system an unprecedented 99.6% approval rating. Today, this stands as one of the highest ratings ever for a deer calling system. You could expect to pay well over $100 for all the calls you would need to produce the vocalizations packed into the extinguisher. Why spend all that money only to fumble with multiple calls when the extinguisher does it all? Order this proven deer calling system today while supplies last and receive the extinguisher deer call and a free lanyard for only $29.99 plus shipping and processing. Get unparalleled performance at just a fraction of the cost. When you order your extinguisher, you'll also receive Illusion's Don't Just Call, Communicate DVD instructional featuring Olympic gold medal archer Rod White. In this instructional, Rod demonstrates the vocalizations you can replicate with your extinguisher deer calling system. But wait, if you order online or by the end of this TV program, we'll include a free Working Class Whitetails DVD. This action-packed DVD features 20 white-tailed kills and 6 Boone and Crockett class bucks. This TV package is not available anywhere else. But hold on, we're not done yet. While supplies last, we'll include a free, unscented wind checker. Now you can play the wind and know exactly where your scent is traveling at all times when communicating with that mature buck. This $100 valued extinguisher TV package can be yours today for just $29.99 plus shipping and processing. The extinguisher makes the perfect gift for friends and family. Wouldn't it feel good knowing you helped that special someone harvest a trophy of a lifetime? Illusion is projected to sell out of extinguishers again this season, and less than 1% of deer hunters will have the opportunity to purchase this calling system. Don't wait. Order yours now. If you love calling in bucks, there's no better complement for the extinguisher than the top-rated Black Rack. This combination is truly the ultimate calling system. The extinguisher is also available in Lady Illusion Pink Camo while supplies last. Order yours now.